Hello, beautiful souls. So here we are today. We have a special guest. Her name is Christy. She's a crystal indigo. It's a really, really interesting guest whom we have today. She has a beautiful soul. She's a light worker. She can elaborate slightly more about her multiple practices, which she's currently doing. But I was fascinated when I went through her social media channel. You will find the links below this video. And I highly recommend you to get acquainted with all what she's doing today. We'll talk mainly about how do we find ourselves into this life. And Christy is here just to get us started in this pathway of unlocking all the blocks towards that way. Could you please let us know, Christy, where are you today? What is your area of study?
Today I'm actually located in Jersey City, New Jersey. And I own a crystal holistic shop. So upstairs we do Reiki healing, astral healing, quantum healing, womb healing, and downstairs is where we have all of the crystals and like oils and tinctures and things like
Oh my God, quantum healing. I would love to hear more about that. Could you
that.
please just let us know? I honestly never have done it before. So, what is that?
Well, when it comes to quantum healing, and this is where I talk about knowing your lineage and how you can understand is by doing an Akashic records or a past life regression. Now, if you aren't connected to the angelic realm, so say for example, the seraphims, or you're connected to the Arcturians, those are star seeds, or Palladians, or Syrians, for example. I do teach. And so each one of these different types of star seeds have their own spiritual gifts. So what fascinates people when they meet me or when they go to my channel is that they see I move people with my eyes, or I can move people with my hands, or I can lift them up without touching them off the floor and levitate. Those are the gifts that are from those we'll say DNA patterns. So if like I always teach them like how to know your star seed marking. So when we talk about quantum healing, we're talking about gifts that aren't clairs. Like you have your clairvoyant, claircognizant, clairsentient. You have all those, but when we talk about quantum and we talk about astral, these are the gifts that are 5D and above. So say for example, if I wanted to, I can look you in your eyes, right? And you can tell me, you'll say, like, my heart is hurting on my knee, or this foot is hurting here. And I'll tell you, just stare into my eyes. And when you stare into my eyes, I'll go right in and you won't have the pain wherever that pain was before. When it comes to quantum healing, there's a thing that I do where literally, if I can explain it right, I literally bring in the light and I like just dive right in. It's just like I'm energetically, I just go right in into the body. And when I do astral healing, I literally lift the soul up, clear out any stagnant energy or any blockages, and I put it back down. And so, what my clients have communicated is that when I do that, they feel like they're separated. So it just feels like somebody just took a part of them and it became separate. So even their breathing shifts. So it feels
Mm.
like they're breathing outside of their body instead of in, if that makes sense. But when you put the body back down, the soul back down and connect, it's like the best feeling ever. Or they feel like, you know how you have certain aches and pains? It's like they have a brand new body.
Oh, that's fascinating for me, honestly. Why? Because I'm always into this continuous learning and continuous searching mode. And it's really, really important to have that open mind in here, because only by having it, we can actually tap into our own spiritual gifts, right? So
Mm-hmm.
all what you're currently talking about, it's really fascinating. But I was thinking, do you use some kind of hypnosis along the way?
No.
Because no, there is no such type of thing. How did it happen like that you opened up those types of gifts in you?
So what people don't understand, some people don't understand, is that you don't get one spiritual awakening. As you graduate, your levels, you continue to get an awakening. And you'll notice when it's the awakening because you'll start to see the synchronicities again. Your right ear will start ringing again. You can't sleep between 1 and 3 and 3
Continuous
and 5.
radio.
Yep. And when you get those downloads, for me, every time I've noticed that I had another gift that was opened, it happened while I was working with a client. So when people meet me, they're like, have you been doing this for like 10, 15 years? I'm like, no, I'm a baby. I'm like, it'll only be 4 years in June. And they're like, wait, what? And I'm like, when you finally answer the call, it's like spirits put you on this like spiritual express program, like you're excelled. And so I never had to do training on anything, even when it comes to Akashic records. And that's one that I really was afraid to do because I was always afraid of like, what am I going to see? Like, I'm nervous, like I'm scared because, even when I was a kid, I would be afraid of my gifts. I didn't know growing up in the urban environment. It's on the south side of Chicago. You don't know the name. In our lineage, they'll just say, she got the gifts or she was born with a veil or something like that. It was never, this is claircognizant, this is this, you wear this crystal for this. I literally, like when I moved to New York and I was away from that safety zone, that's when they were like, aha, she can't run anymore. And so I had to face it.
And embrace it.
Yes. Yes. Because when you're chosen, it's not whether you decide that you're not going to do this, it'll keep happening until you surrender.
You know it. You know
Yeah.
it, basically. It kept coming to me. I remember I watched some movie, but I don't remember what is the name. Kind of like when there is this crystal clarity at a certain point in your life, you just know things. You stop guessing. So when you are in that crystal clear mode, you don't deviate to the right, to the left. You, in fact, stop having a choice. It was given to us like we have a choice here. But when we figure out that pathway, it becomes like so clear. It's just like, okay, I cannot go around that card. It's laying down, let's say, in my hand. So I just like, I feel it, first of all, and I see what's in there. I don't guess. All right. So
Mm-hmm.
let's say we just switch on the light in here. So we stop guessing things. I guess that's what you are talking about. And then there is no choice, in fact. And what is interesting is that whenever I was talking in these lives through like different types of circles and with different types of people, when they start knowing their purpose, they kind of start serving others. It's also an interesting thing. Could you please walk me through how, let's say, what happened to you? First of all, how did you open up your gifts? That's number one. And number two, when did you figure out that you have to serve to people?
So how I opened up my gifts, I'll tell you this. My gifts were opening up on their own. So it was like that's why I loved Harry Potter so much because it was just like that. It was like things would happen and I wouldn't know how to understand or how to control it. And I remember I'll never forget June 3 years ago. I had roommates at the time and I was in my room. And I remember it was one of those nights again where I felt spirits around me and I got scared. Now back at home, I could run into my nana's room and slide in her bed and I would feel safe. Not when you got roommates. They're gonna look at you like what's going on? And I remember kneeling to the floor and I started to cry and I said, listen, I don't know what you want from me. I said, but I just don't understand. I said, just give it to me in a way that I understand. I said, I promise I'm not being disobedient because I knew it was something I just didn't know the name.
Mm.
And like my wood floor in my room was full of my tears. That's how bad they were tearing me up. And I was like, please. And I knew it was my spiritual awakening / dark night of the soul because it was like at a point in my life where I was stripped bare but I still was able to get through. You don't know that many people that could um, be put on unemployment or, lose their job in New York City and rent is like $3,000. How am I going to make this work? So when I look at it, that whole 6 months, it was like boot camp, spiritual boot camp. And so by the time that 6 months was over, the opportunity that I had with my next company was the biggest salary that I ever had in my life. And so I was like, and it was funny because it was in the medical field. I worked in fashion retail. I was put in the medical field. And while I was put in the medical field, all that training during like getting me ready from that spiritual awakening, it was my healing hands. And I was like, I'm like, something's up. And I would literally take the pharmacy techs to the stock room when they had headaches, and I would take their headaches away because when they would be sick, and I would say, shh, don't say anything. And they would run around and be like, go see Kissy. They would call me Kissy because I was from India. And they was like, she's got magic. And so I had to understand. So now when I did that cry, like when I just surrendered and I said, just show me in the way that I understand. Now, when it would be like, how do I work my healing hands? A YouTube video would come on. How do I learn how to align my chakras? A YouTube video would come on. I learned how to align my chakras at a dentist appointment. When it came to the herbs, now that's when the vision started from my great grandmother. She's a Cherokee Indian. And I saw what she was doing. And I was like, okay, because with herbs, I never had to go to herbology class. I just knew what made better. You got acne, here, take this. Your acne's gone in 3 days. You got heart problems, take this. Your heart, you go back to the doctor, he says your heart's fine. So it's like, my gifts started acting up on their own. And it was me that let go of the fear and embraced it. And then it worked with me.
But what I hear here is your request was very clear. So when it actually approached you, you had a clear request, show it to me in a way which I can understand. Do you have maybe some book written around this topic when someone is kind of like in this phase when they get approached by spirit and they don't know how to unlock their spirit, their spiritual power?
I go live on Sundays on TikTok and I
Mm.
teach. So I am going to write a book one day, but when my schedule slows up a little bit, but I do teach, and it literally be like 200 to 300 people, and that they know every Sunday I'm going live. And so many people have been like, thank you for helping me, for showing me. And then not only that, when the spiritual community comes together, even if you're newly awakened, you begin to be enlightened. So when you watch, there you go, there's the seed, because there's also a gift called the awakener. And so what that awakener does is you awaken people as they come. So yeah, I teach on Sundays and teach them that way. Yes.
So guys, please check the links, which I will show you here. This is a beautiful healer. And she also explains how to open up these amazing spiritual gifts, which you may have probably, because I understand that when something approaches you, you kind of start feeling certain sensations within your body, within your environment. Could you please maybe open for us in here? What are those signs, signals that something is happening, that what you want to pay attention to?
You definitely want to pay attention to the way your body feels, especially for those who are empaths. And you also want to understand, going back to what type of gifts you have. So if you're brand new into like your spiritual journey, you will start to understand the places that you used to go to, you can't go to anymore because it's so much energy and your body can't handle it. You will understand that you're drawn to more like frequency, like hertz, like 963 or 520, or like different hertz that will help align your body or heal your body. And for example, crystals are very important for us. I haven't went outside without a crystal since 2014. And doing that, I remember walking in Union Square, no crystals, and all of a sudden it was voices like this all at once. And then my body, I just shivered up in the middle of the area where the the train is, where everybody's like, it's like rush hour. And I just got on my knees and I balled over like this. And I was like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And that's when I realized that I needed support. And when I went into this crystal shop, the woman was telling me like, okay, this is what you need. You have to have black obsidian, You have to wear this,
Mm.
and that will calm you down. And that literally calmed me down. And when
Do you
you're
have recommendations of specific crystals for those awakening
sure.
souls?
Amethyst, rose quartz, obsidian, those were my big three when I first started out.
Mm.
So the amethyst was for
Why
the
them
heart.
specifically? Why they are so important?
So for rose quartz, it was for the heart because as a healer, that's what we heal from. So many say, you have healing hands, but actually the energy is coming from here, moving through the arm channel and out of here. So this is the purest energy of all, love. So you want to wear that rose quartz because you want to make sure that you're clearing and healing your heart, right?
Mm.
So if you're broken, how am I going to heal you and I'm broken too? Makes
Yes,
sense.
this is so important. It just synchronizes with me because honestly, this is our self-organizing center. Let's say it's broken, then everything will be broken in your center. So first thing first, you must take care about your heart. So this just really makes sense. And why obsidian?
Obsidian is for the protection. So when you begin to go along your spiritual journey, there will be times where different entities or things like that. Remember, if they don't understand what their spiritual gifts are, you don't know if you have a bad spirit or a good spirit around. You have to make
Mm.
sure that you have your energy protected. So for first timers, I always recommend obsidian because for me, tourmaline and onyx may be too strong. When you
Mm.
try to wear tourmaline and you're on your spiritual awakening journey in the beginning, you'll start spinning in circles like this because
Yes.
it's so strong.
I
So
can
that's why
relate to
I can't touch
that. I,
it.
for example, I cannot touch tourmaline up to now. It's just too much for me, honestly. Too heavy.
Mm-hmm. And then amethyst. So amethyst would be good for the third eye. So amethyst, third eye, clarity, crown. Because what you're going to find out is when those big portal events happen, this crown chakra is going to be going up to Krypton. So there's all that activation going on, and you're just like, oh my God, like what's happening? Like you get the headaches during Lionsgate or
Mm.
the 333 or 444 days. Like it's like live at 5. So you want to make sure that you have this under control.
That makes total sense. Because in fact, I was fascinated how these two worlds, spiritual world and the physical world, they are kind of like reflected one into another. Here in this physical world, we have to build upon our strengths in order to be successful.
Mhm.
We have to unite with other people and not to build upon our weaknesses, right? But in
Mhm.
spiritual realm, you have to align everything. You have to take care about your weak spots so that everything will be aligned, right? Otherwise, the circuit will not be activated. So it's just so true what you mentioned here. And I remember a few people who were kind of like very successful here, but they try to go into that spiritual realm with the same, how to say, wiring in their brain, kind of like, hey, I will build upon my strengths, but why to develop those strengths if you have to just align the circuit and just to figure out your space, kind of like your small part in the realm of everything. So you just need to allow that electricity to flow through you. You just need to take care about all these sports, which are also weak sports. But let's say you are very successful here. We are materialistic. We go with the same approach to the
Mhm.
spiritual world. We become not successful there because they reflect, the worlds reflect each other. They are not the same. Did
Because
you
at the
notice
end of the
that?
day, it's about unconditional. So when you decide to walk the spiritual path, when you decide to walk the spiritual path, you have to understand that everything and everyone cannot go with you.
Mm.
Just like when you give someone a message, they're not meant if they're not ready, they'll catch up later. You can't pull
Mm.
people along. Those who are ready, they will come. Those who need time, they will catch up later. And that's how you have to look at it.
Yes, otherwise it's pure enforcement, right? So you kind of like already kind of like you're not a savior here. So that took me time also to understand this because otherwise you keep judging, you start judging, and this what pulls you down, in fact. Once you become that so-called seer, did you notice that there is also like either you go and like, hey, I need to help him or I need to help her, but maybe they don't need your help. Maybe they are in that state of kind of like that comfortable state of a caterpillar, they just want it. But you, because you are already in a butterfly state, you want to fly, it's just like, hey, fly everyone with me. But it is actually important to go through each and every stage of butterfly evolution
Yeah,
here.
and it's
So it's really important. I remember there is some card actually in my deck. I don't remember already, but it was showing, in fact, the stages of evolution of a butterfly. I wanted to show it to you in here and to all the um, people. Like, look at this. So here we see, in fact, the butterfly, how she is evolving. Right? So first it's a caterpillar stage and it's very comfortable there. And then next, you see, she's just wakening up and here it's awakened, just ready to fly. Ready to fly. So that's what we are talking about. And it's such a gentle world. Did you notice that? That when we
yeah,
just
and then once you understand the concept of our job when we put on like our spiritual assignment is not to heal individuals. It's to
Mhm.
show individuals where they need the healing and they heal themselves. And that's where the
Mhm.
disconnect is because it's like when we get into our gifts, we're like, I want to heal everything. I want to heal the world. And you kind of get depleted when you first start out because
Oh, this
that
is
is
so true. This is so true. So how did
yes.
you discover this tremendously wise principle for yourself? How did it come to you? I mean that you don't need to disturb the balance in the world and just not touch those like those beautiful beings at different stages earlier than it's required, meaning that you don't open up the caterpillar earlier than it's required.
Yes. What I do is when I meet people or people come to me, they used to always say, like, Chrissy, you don't get sad when people come into your life and they leave. And I said, no. I said, because the moment that they come in, I know there's a reason. So now when people come into my life, like as a kid, I used to be like, oh man. But now it's like, mm-mm. So when I see someone or someone is introduced to me or come to me, I just say, okay, God, what's wrong with this one? What do I got to do? Like, what do I got to do? I know it's like, I know something's up. It's like, because I don't let myself get attached because if there's a reason, there's a season, and there's a lifetime. That's how people come into your life. There a reason, a
I love it.
season, a lifetime. Yes. So as long as you have to, as much as we want to help, as much as we want to heal, and as much as we want to change the world, you too are a vessel. And if that vessel is burnt out, you can't do too much healing, like can you?
This is so powerful. So, when I came into this world as well, one of the biggest questions which I kept asking myself was, what is this attachment? And I remember I kept going also to India, to different gurus there, and I kept asking them, what is this attachment? Can you please explain to me? And they were all giving me different wise answers. So, and now when you said to me that you figured it out, could you please like elaborate, like how did you figure out your way around like this detachment from the world, but at the same time involvement with the world? This is like really interesting, delicate balance which you found, seems like it.
You know what hurt feels like?
Mm,
You don't like that, do you?
mm,
So when you understand what hurt or pain or loss feels like, you become more aware and you
mm,
become more knowledgeable. But then not only that, once you start to see each individual how they should be seen, or how they like to be seen, then things are a lot different. So for me, when you and it goes back to the unconditional love, that's the true mission when they say love and light, the unconditional love, whether right, wrong, or indifferent. So when I'm in situations, or when I'm working with someone, or even when there's other things going on, I always look at it that way, because there's no room for me, there's no room for hurt. And
Mm,
being a healer, being a star seed, being a light worker, being an oracle, or an earth angel, sometimes we're a little too empathic and want to care and want to, but you also have to remember you have a job to do. You were chosen for this. You didn't dial up the line to spirit and say, you know what, look, I want to rock the world. I want to do this. No, we didn't ask for that. Like, how many of us had a whole different, life plan? And they say, you want to hear God laugh? Tell them what you got planned. So he'll let you, what the best thing to do is say, okay, let's meet halfway. Because that's what I did. I said, let me do my music, and then whatever you want me to do, I got you. And so that's what happened. He let me get a taste of what I thought my purpose was. And then after, he was like, all right, time's up, get to it. And if I had the choice, I would choose this life over and over.
mm. This is very powerful, I would say, from the side, because it just brings me into contemplation about my life. Especially when you asked this question, do you know what is hurt? And then I just realized, oh my God, it was like the real fire trial from the beginning of my life, which was really fiery, lots of hurt. But then just like now the realization is the gold, it's being born out of fire. Right? So we kind of like realize after, like, I see many, many women here, they lose their authentic self into, others when we take care. It's our thing, it's a woman's thing here.
Mm-hmm.
We keep losing ourselves, taking care about our beloved ones. I don't know how it's wired, but guys are normally not that way. They also love, but they
No.
don't tend to lose themselves, right? So probably every woman here can relate to that.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I remember how I lost myself completely in another one, just lost first in my mom, and then I lost in my first love. And it was a devastating moment, but it was a revelation moment because after that, the self-love occurred.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was reading your website through, I realized that you kind of practice that self-love also. So can you please walk me through what is self-love for you? Do you do certain practices maybe through the day, through the week? Because you kind of like serve a lot of other people. You are a very busy woman from the side. How do you cherish, honor, and nourish yourself?
So what I used to do, and I say used to, but I still do self-love practices, but what I used to do, I used to buy myself a gift every month. So it would either be take myself to dinner or take myself shopping or whatever it was I thought about, I was just doing that for me because I knew, I have the shop, I have other things that I have to maintain. So that's one of the things I would do. Now, as far as a practice where I would write something down and be like, you are beautiful, you are gorgeous. Like I didn't do none of that. I mean, I served in the military. So I feel like it's like that. You set what you want to achieve or you see what you want to achieve and you don't lose the mission. So that's how I took on self-love. And trust me, I didn't even understand what love was until I was in my in the teenage years. Like, and it was funny because I was like, I live with my nana, and I'll never forget it. She got me when I was 16, and she would spoil me rotten. And I remember her saying one day, I said, Nana, I said, why you used to buy me all that stuff? And she goes, because I wanted you to love me.
Mm,
And I said, in my head, I'm like, but I do love her. Like, even if she didn't do that stuff. But she told me that my heart was so broken when I got her, when she got me, that she just wanted to do anything to fix it. And as a kid, I can't see that my heart was broken, but she could tell just by if if an uncle would try to hug me, I would hug far back like this. And they
mm,
never understood why I was so uncomfortable with like close touch.
mm,
So when she said that, I was like, and I credit her for this because I started to look at my friends that way. Oh, you need this, you want me to do this, but you got to watch out because then you'll be taken advantage of. But I learned how to love because of her. I didn't know what it was because my real mother didn't, she wasn't this type. And like we had a really, like I was with her from the age of 4, no, from the age of 6 till 16, because I was taken from her when I was little, a baby. And so I never really had that, like, love me, like, here, take my
mm,
heart. It was more of us like, so I was like living to survive until I got to her. So now when I have clients, the one thing that I don't do is when they have a relationship reading, for example, and that's where your affirmations, like, they rock. Like, because some people is like, okay, are you picking up what I'm putting down? Like, this is what's going on. Because it's like, oh, say these affirmations and this helps me. I never tell a client, like when they're doing like a romance reading or something like that, or love, if I tell them that someone's not good for them and they say, and I give them all this good information, oh my God, your career, this is on fire, like this is what you're going to do. You're going to change the world. And the next question they ask me is, but am I going to get back with so and so, so and so? I stop the reading.
mm,
I stop it immediately. No, I'm not. I'm not the one that's going to entertain toxicity. No. I said, babe, you got the wrong one. Because I don't consider myself as a reader. I'm an oracle or I'm Chrissy the Crystal Indigo, whatever, which way. But that teaches them too, because they come back and they're like,
mm,
everything you said happened exactly how you said it. And the
mm.
guy with the red hair you told me about, he showed up. Like, I don't even think about so and so anymore. And I feel like when we get in this profession, or when we're anointed into this profession, we need to be truthful. It doesn't matter if this person's heart going to be broken or not, because there are some readers out there that will just say anything, get their client.
It's
It's
very
all.
unethical. It's very unethical, I would say.
Yep.
So when you
Yep.
become like really, really strong, strongly connected to that so-called like deep, beautiful and truthful, like deep spirit core within you, and you keep still reading tarot, or doing certain practices, especially reading tarot, you kind of like that, have that code of conduct, I would say. Just correct
Yes.
me if I'm wrong, right?
Yes.
So what is
Yes.
your code of conduct when you do tarot readings?
So I explain to my clients that a diviner can read tarot, but a diviner cannot see. A
Mm,
seer can divine, and a seer can read tarot and see. You see the difference? Anybody can learn how to read tarot. You can be the best tarot reader in the world, but can you see? So what I like to do is I'll I'll tell them what's going on first, because the moment they sit down and I look at them, it's over with. I'm like, okay, who is this person? Da, 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 da. I'll go right in, and they're like, oh my God. I'm like, well, that's so and so. I'm like, okay, cool. Now let me tell you. Now let me play the cards for you, or let me put the cards out for you. And I do that because I want them to understand. So many people are like into the, I gotta know the answer.
mm,
These. So I
yes.
love tarot because it helps. Because for the client, some people need an image. They need to see, like, okay, what's happening? Okay, this is going on. Okay, you know.
Mm. Coming back to this tarot topic, what is tarot for you, in fact? just like I always ask each and every guest of mine here, what is tarot for them? And I continue like receiving different answers. So I'm really intrigued. What is tarot for you?
Tarot is a tool for me to help those understand who can't see.
Mm.
I'm a seer, so I don't need tarot. But when I come across something as elegant as this, where I did the spread, and when I gave the communication or the oracle, and then right behind it, when the client is like, "Well, how do I do this?" Okay, affirmation A B C D E F G. I need you to do this daily. It just blew my client's mind. It just blew my client's mind. I was like, okay, this is what's up. This is what's up.
Oh, I
Something
love
different
it.
and unique.
I
Yeah.
love it, because actually how I came up with this, I loved affirming things. And I remember how I went to Tony Robbins events when I was in deep frustration of my life. And I really love this guy, but many things from him just didn't work for me from a feminine nature. But what
Mhm.
I really took from him was these affirmative statements. And I was just like, oh my God, when I started like really rewiring myself through just speaking. So I really loved his triangle, what he continued talking about focus, right? So, and then
Mhm.
language and physicality. So, and this affirmation, and especially if you do it actively with cards, the same way, because there is the active meditation, you can do it differently. You can look at the symbols when you have, let's say, rich symbolism cards, whatever they are, Tridevia or something else, whatever works for you. But if there is that rich symbolism, you kind of like start connecting to that higher self through images, through symbols, in fact.
Mhm.
And it starts like that beautiful, elegant rewiring process of you because beauty heals, in fact. So I remember remembering part of my life when I was walking purposelessly through one story to another, trying to find the answers. And somehow I stumped into this tarot deck. It was the classical Rider-Waite, but I stumped there like, and I started shuffling, and there was Empress. And I don't know, I was watching it, watching and watching. I bought that damn deck, just like, but I watched and watched and I started feeling better. I didn't know why, it was, and I was just like, oh, there is magic in there. Why I keep watching and I feel better. And only later I realized there was some active meditation in there involved. So it's just like, what you just started talking, how you deal with your clients with affirmative statements. Then it just brought me to this realization, like how these affirmations with symbolism, with everything, how they can start that beautiful healing, self-healing process. We don't go to tarot for just answers. Yeah, and I just love that code of conduct which you have in
But
here.
your deck is also, when you look at the images, so with some of my clients, and especially when I like, what I do is I'll go on live and I'll like do like the tarot spreads, like I'll call someone and like do a spread. When they're drawn to your artwork, this is a form of light language. So looking at the artwork, like light language doesn't always have to be sound. Light language, if your gift is painting art, you can tell the client to look at the photo and watch how they heal. So when clients and followers are drawn to like your cards and they're like, oh my God, like that's a pretty deck. Where did you get it? I'm like, okay, check the link in the bio. Here. Excuse
You
me.
are so deep, it's so amazing because I
Yeah.
never spoke about it actually intentionally because I didn't know that I can speak about this, but now you mentioned it. I'm just
Yeah.
so honored. Thank you for that you figured it out, it's just amazing because I have these codes like and lots of stuff in there, but
Hmm.
when I was creating it, I just never was thinking that I would open it up all because there was some kind of hesitance in me, just I was not sure like people would understand it. But you already mentioned it. And it's just so, so beautiful. Thank you for that. Now, just I wanted to come back to that, purposeful living topic. And it seems like you are a woman who found herself, who not only found herself, but who lives that purposeful life. And it seems like you are very, like, you know what you are doing in life, that you are capable to set goals, you're capable to achieve them, and you are also like, how to say, you're a very busy woman. How do you, how effective is your goal setting? Let's say I have a dream, right? I
Mhm.
have a dream. And let's say, how do I make that dream happen in life? What is
So
your process of that effective goal setting, putting that dream from like my dream space to reality?
you say what you want to see. If you don't want to see it, you don't say it. So when I say what I want to see. Not only that, but my mind matches, my voice matches, my heart matches, the way I feel about it matches. And
Mm.
so when I started manifesting, I was like, I'm like, no, 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 this just can't be true. This can't. I'm like, let me try it again. Let me try it again. And I said, okay, I got this. So July 15th, I'll never forget. I came home from the pharmacy. It's still like, pandemic's just wrapping up. And I looked at my roommate and I said, today is the last day I'm having roommates. I said, I love y'all. I said, but I need to be by water. I can't do it because that's when like everything was really kicking in. And every new moon and full moon, I would write my manifestations out. And it started to be, it was like a game to me because I was like, oh man, let me get it. So I'll write them out. Then when the new moon coming, I'm opening it up from the full moon. I'm checking it off. I'm like, yeah. And then I go to the next one. And I said, one of my manifestations was I wanted to be by water. I want my house or condo by the water. And I'll never forget when I started looking, the lady was like, yeah, I got something for like 800,000. And I was like, you're not talking to Beyonce. I said, my name was Chrissy. And she started busting up laughing. And she's like, well, you're never going to find anything for the price that you want like that. And literally, I set that intention July 15th. November 2020, I was closing on my condo by the water and it was like, it was beautiful. Like I got it for like 265K.
Wow.
Can't get that on the East Coast. And I
Oh
was
my
just like,
God.
I'm like, this is real. So when it comes to manifestations, I always tell people, say what you want to see. And then I started teaching my family how to manifest. And they would like send pictures. I'm like, did I do it right? I'm like, yeah, you got it.
So
My
wait,
best
wait,
friend.
wait. I want to still just to have that framework, because all our like beautiful, beautiful souls here, they always love frameworks. So can you tell us in steps, step one, step two, step three, so that we could actually record it here?
Okay. It's not even a step 1, 2, or 3. This is the easiest way to manifest anything you want in your life. You say what you want to see. If you don't want to see it, you don't say it. And you feel what you want. You taste what you want. You
Mm.
see what you want. That's it.
Oh my God. I think I want to try it already after this session.
It's true. Like I was like, oh my God. Like when I was like, I'm like, this is like, I can't believe this. Like, it's just like when you get into alignment, you have to be in alignment. So say for example, if you are writing your intentions, write your manifestations down. And for the moment that you think, no, I don't know about this, take it off. Take it off
Mm.
the list. You have to be 100% sure all the way. And when you write them down, don't go back 2 days later trying to see if
Mm.
anything, came to fruition. Leave it. The best way for me, and I've gotten results in my clients' results and everybody around the world results. I love to manifest on new moon and full moon. And another thing, you can manifest your blessings and everything that you want to come to fruition on whatever moon it is. So don't think, oh, the full moon's about releasing. I can't write that to, this time around. No, write your heart out.
Mm, that's very powerful. So the last question, which I want to ask you about, it probably would really help all of our beautiful, beautiful souls here, because, that's actually really amazing what you said, but, we all keep falling down still. What are those blocks, which can be the roadblocks, and how to go around them, you know?
Honestly, what I tell everyone who's going through their spiritual awakening or going through a dark night of the soul or any spiritual ascension activity, I tell everyone, I want you, if you haven't done so, I want you to get Reiki. You
Mm,
need to make sure that on the inside, you are clear. So, for example, one of my clients came to me and she was like, why can't I have a baby? Like, why can't I have kids? Like, I'm trying everything, I'm doing everything. And I said, it sounds like a job to me. And she was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? I said, because it seems like you're working. I was
mm,
like, you want it so bad. I said, that's not how we don't bring things in with greed. You bring things in with gratitude. Right. So when
wow.
I said, I want you to try this, I said, you know, when you want to manifest your soul baby, I said, you manifest that soul baby with love. You're not
Mm.
rushing. You're not trying to see if you're ovulating. You're not like, come on.
This is so true. This is so true because, for example, I go to lots of business cycles with my husband, and I keep meeting their different ladies, and they are very, very, just business oriented. So, and I just see certain types of talks along the way, how at specific age you want to have children or freeze your eggs, or just something
Mhm.
like this. This
Yes.
crazy talks about that. And it's just like, oh my God, and it feels like job from the side. It feels like another
Hmm.
project, another business project, It's just like,
Yes.
now you said that, and it's just so revelating. And I believe so that it will be like a pure revelation point for everyone, especially our beautiful ladies here, because I believe so that infertility kicks in when we are on the go, go, go. It's just like I, for example, when I was working a lot, I remember when I was like that city girl and living on my own terms alone, being the manager like of a department in some really prominent, really good corporation. But I was that so-called city girl lady living on her own terms, like the alpha woman, like from that perspective. But the truth is, I started having problems there, down there. Like really, everything
Hmm.
was amazing, but down there where there were issues, and I was kind of like construct, like how to explain, like contracted from within.
Hmm.
And I didn't already receive pleasure from sex, so it's just like, what is this? I couldn't understand it, so, and now you tell me about that, it's just like so revelating. Receive everything, even the child, with gratitude, because I still don't have children. And then I was like, I kept thinking about like when we'll have children with my husband, like, but I kept thinking it as a job, Now you
Yeah.
tell
And
me
then when you
gratitude.
do it that way, I got total 11 babies. I had a grandma visit me yesterday because I give them this oil too to put on their womb.
Hmm.
And when her daughter got pregnant, she ran in there and was in tears, and she was like, I did everything you told me to do. I was like, okay. So she comes and visits me like every 2 weeks, and she's like, okay, well, I'm gonna bring baby girl in so you can meet her. And when I'm ready for my other daughter to have a baby, I'll be right back in here. We're gonna work that out too. And I'm just like, oh my God. But yeah, I got 11 babies so far.
Oh my God, I am so, so happy.
Yep,
You
yep,
know?
yep.
Wow. Wow.
Hmm.
It was really, really beautiful talk, Christy. I just want to thank you. I don't want to hold you anymore. I know your time is beautiful and precious. Thank you so much that you've been with me here. You definitely enlightened the pathway of many, many souls in here. And I believe so that that beautiful talk today will plant the seeds in many wombs, in many wombs.
Thank
I
you.
heard, by the way, that this beautiful soul here, Christy, she's also doing some womb healing, right? So
Yeah.
that's true, right?
Yes.
So, girls, if you want some womb healing, any kind of like secrets around this topic, here is the expert. Here is the expert. Thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Christy. It was a
Thank
real
you.
pleasure.
Thank you.